Thank you, Kautilya, for the lovely, insightful presentation. Now, for most of the audience that might not be aware, if you were to Google Kautilya, you will find two child prodigies with the exact same first name. You know, there's a Kautilya Pandit, who was formerly the Google boy in India, and the most recent Kautilya, Kautilya Kataria, whom we have here today. And I tried to understand, so where did this name Kautilya actually come from? You know, and after doing some reading, it's actually the name of a very famous teacher, Chanakya, who is also traditionally identified as Kautilya. And this famous teacher basically adopted a young disciple named Chandragupta, who demonstrated a lot of courage and compassion and eventually became the king, and who created a fantastic legacy. And so that's a beautiful story behind it. For those of you not aware, please look it up. But yeah, now, so today we have a very special guest with us, Kautilya Kataria. You know, he's the world's youngest programmer. So without further ado, Kautilya, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your family?
So you already know me, and I am Kautilya, and my dad is called Ishwari, and my mom is called Trupti, and I also have a little brother called Shiv.
That's nice. And how old is your little brother?
About nearly 3.
All right, so there's 4 of you. And where do you stay? You're living in the UK?
Yeah, more specifically England, more specifically Northampton.
Northampton, lovely, lovely. So I got a question for you. You got to answer truthfully. Who's the most intelligent in your family?
If you're asking based on age, then it's probably my younger brother, because he already knows how to count to 30, and he's learning how to count 30 to 40.
Wow. All right. So relatively, you would say your younger brother, well, very modest, coming from the world's youngest computer programmer. So perhaps you could share with us, so why did you fall in love with, coding?
So I fell in love because it's fun, and I also like solving puzzles and problems, and computing is just like solving puzzles.
That's nice. That's very nice. I'm a big fan of problem solving myself. I play a little bit of chess. I see a lot of similarities with coding. So how did you start, learn? How did you start learning? Where did what was the first book you read or the first video you watched?
The first book I read about coding, you mean?
Yeah.
So the first book I read was when my dad gave me this book that I really loved, and I finished in one day. And also it had some basic computer programs inside it, and I wrote some of them in my laptop. And right now I'm on a different laptop, my old laptop in another room. My old laptop, that's where I put the programs on.
Oh, that's lovely. So what kind of programs, what's your favorite program?
My favorite programs I made so far?
Yeah.
So my favorite program could be the tic-tac-toe one. And the tic-tac-toe one is, I think you know what tic-tac-toe is.
I do know what tic-tac-toe is. One of those games where, you can't lose if you know how to play it. That's nice. Okay, so you did a cool program on tic-tac-toe. That's lovely. What about all these beautiful, pictures behind you? I see a little pi symbol there. And is that an infinity symbol? And another unidentifiable symbol at the top. Could you maybe share a little bit about why you picked those pictures? It's very nice.
So the top one is called Alex No, and it is the smallest infinity, and it's countable infinity. So, and countable infinity is basically the self numbers 0 to infinity. And then the second one is it says you are limitless and then an infinity. I'm sure we all know what infinity is. And then the last one is pi, which is basically the ratio of the circumference of the circle to the diameter of the circle. And that is approximately 3.141592.
Nice, nice. That's fantastic. And from all the symbols, that are out there, why did you pick this three?
Because they are my favorite symbols. Omega is also my favorite symbol, but omega is basically nearly equal to Aleph No. I mean, it is also the smallest infinity, but you can also add omega by 1, but you can't add Aleph No by 1, I think.
Okay, so Omega didn't quite make the cut. It just missed the top three.
Yeah.
And what about the other photos right there? I see a photo of the Shiva.
The other one is so you mean the other one of them? So the other pictures.
Yeah.
So I don't think I'm sure what the top one is. I don't think I'm sure what that one is.
No worries.
But the one on the bottom of it shows some pictures of. So the first picture is me, my mom, and my little brother. The second picture is my little brother holding up a piece of some Lego-like thing. It's like Lego, it's just bigger. And then the last one is, I'm not sure you can see it, but the last one is basically all the seasons. And so like there's a tree and then there's some leaves on them to represent what season it is.
That's nice. All right. So clearly you value mathematics, you value coding, and your family. These are your big loves. Now, I have a question for you.
Yeah, and also I'm not done. So also the one right next to the tree is the one right next to the tree, which is on. So the one on the bottom of that row is basically some art that my mom made, and then the one on top of that is, so the top picture is my little brother just in a black and white image, a black and grey and white, I think.
All right.
And then the one the one on the down is me and my little brother at the beach, and then the bottom one is me.
That's nice. That's very nice. Thanks for sharing, Kautilya. So we've learned a little bit about, your love for coding. But now, what about mathematics? Do you have any, favorite equation, perhaps? Can you share a little bit?
Yeah, my favorite equation is called Euler's identity, and Euler's identity is one of the most famous equations, and it is e to the power of pi times I plus 1 is 0.
And why is that favorite?
And that is famous because it uses three of the most important mathematical constants, E, I, and pi. So E is Euler's constant, which is about 2.718 something. And then I is basically an imaginary number, and it's the square root of -1. And if you multiply it by some number, then what will happen is that it will turn 90 degrees.
Wow.
And then finally, pi is the ratio of the Wait, didn't I already tell you what?
You've covered it. Fantastic. All right. Okay, so these are your favorites. Okay, cool. So we've covered mathematics. Now tell me more about artificial intelligence. I heard, you're very interested in it. So how do you think AI is going to change the world?
So I think AI, so I think lots of computers, lots of companies are generating self-driving cars which use AI, and there's also and another way that AI can change the future is maybe the AI can go into flying cars. There is a flying car at the moment, and it's currently in the test run. So maybe the AI could go into the flying cars. So not only there will be less accidents, there would also be about half the traffic because you can go into the air and the land.
Absolutely. Have you seen Back to the Future, by the way? It's a very famous movie about a cool scientist, and he had a car that could travel across different time zones, to the future, to the past. I'll talk to your dad and make sure you catch that. There's a lot of flying cars in there as well. So as a follow-up question, right? So which area of artificial intelligence actually interests you the most?
I think it's probably natural language processing, which is NLP.
NLP, yeah.
And I think it's leading because Google Assistant and Apple Siri, Amazon Alexa, and so they are all types of they all use natural language processing.
Awesome. And for the audience, please don't confuse this NLP with neuro-linguistic programming. It's completely different. All right, moving on. So I'm personally, into cognitive computing. I think that is something that's a very interesting field of research. What are your views on that?
So, and what do you mean by that?
So cognitive computing is the ability for computers to sort of simulate and complement a human's cognitive abilities of decision making. Which is slightly different aspect compared to artificial intelligence, which is not really intended to mimic human thoughts and processes. They're saying that's going to be the next boundary after artificial intelligence. Is that an area you think you would be interested in?
Yeah.
That's nice.
And also, I think no. Yeah, maybe.
Maybe. All right, no worries. All right, so for those of you that, for the audience, right, they might not know really what is the difference between a normal computer algorithm versus an artificial intelligence algorithm. So how would you try and, help them understand the difference?
So, the difference between them is that AI algorithms take in a lot of answers, and also they take in the actual input and they give out the rules, but normal algorithms take the rules and taken the rules and also the input and then they give out the answers. So it's basically switching the axes around.
Nice. That's a very, very simple explanation of a highly complex topic. All right, so now enough about, okay, we've covered mathematics, we've covered coding, and all your loves, right? Now let's talk about Kautilya, yourself. So what do you do in your free time? What do you like to do on the weekends? Maybe share a little bit about your interests outside of your technical pursuits.
I like in my free time, I like to play with my little brother, of course, and I also like to watch TV when it's almost nighttime, and if you count that as my free time, and also I love to swim in my free time.
That's nice. You like the beach? You like to swim at the beach as well?
Yeah.
That's nice. That's very nice. So what is your favorite, what do you like watching on TV?
What?
Do you have any favorite show, or have you seen Rick and Morty?
No.
Okay, I'm not sure. That's actually a fun show about a mad scientist who goes on amazing adventures with his grandson. So it's one of my favorite shows. That's nice. So another question is more on your influences, right? So you have your wonderful parents, but who else would you consider like a role model, someone that you really look up to, and why?
So probably my mom and my dad, but if you don't include that, then definitely my little brother, because number one, I love him, and number two, he's the only one left in the family. If it's not my mom and my dad.
And what about, you're such a loving brother? That's so sweet. And what about outside your family? Anyone else? Any famous scientist maybe, or famous mathematician? Are there anyone that you are sort of inspired by? Not at the moment.
Yeah, not at the moment.
That's fine. That's all right. That's cool. And is there anything else you would like to share with the audience? Things that you might find pretty interesting, or things that they can learn more about you.
No, I don't think anymore.
That's fine. What advice would you give to young people like yourself, that are looking to learn how to code? Like what advice would you give children?
I would advise them to keep on practicing, because you know what they say, practice makes perfect. And I would also say to solve puzzles, and also have a refreshing break. And I don't mean like video game break, I mean like play outside. So play outside before solving any problem.
Absolutely. So study and life balance, right?
Yeah.
That's nice. If you could go into a time capsule, 20 years in the future, what do you think Kautilya 20 years from now would be? Would you be a scientist, or would you be a mathematician, or
Definitely a scientist or a computer scientist.
Okay.
Or both.
Okay. That's awesome.
You can get multiple jobs, can't you?
For sure. Yes, you can. You can. So you can be a computer scientist and a mathematician.
I said scientist, not mathematician.
Okay, just scientist. Okay, that's nice. All right. Thanks so much, Kautilya. We've just reached the end of our session. This is really insightful. I've learned so much from you, from your presentation, and from yourself. And it's very inspiring, the things that you value, and you're pursuing your passions. And with that, we'll bring the interview, to an end. Any last words before we bring it to a close, Kautilya?
No.
No. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ganesh. It looks like you truly enjoyed your conversation with Kautilya, and safe to say that we just got schooled by a 7-year-old. To be honest, I was struggling to even keep up right from the start of the lesson of computational complexities. I might have to rewatch that and learn more from Kautilya. And most certainly the future is bright for this young, brilliant mind, and we look forward to seeing many great things from him. I love how focused he is and how he's absolutely sure he wants to be a scientist or to have 2 jobs even. He was so honest, and I just love that the eagerness in him. I'll be sure to follow his progress on all his social media platforms. We truly hope that you've enjoyed that session. We've got more coming your way. Next up, we're going to discuss on the digital economy, the cornerstone of sustainable development. Keep joining and we'll see you soon.